All right, we're going to call the Fairground Management and Event Corporation Board of Directors meeting for Thursday, August 20th to order. If you could, Mary, do the roll.
Yeah, no problem. Gail? Here. Dennis?
Here.
Ron?
Here.
Pat?
Here.
Randy?
Here.
Mary? And we have Steve and Larry.
Steve is filling in for Schwani.
Okay.
So, approval of the minutes from the July 16th.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Treasurer's report. You got it?
I do my half of it.
Is this yours?
That's mine.
Oh, so
My
this
half of it.
isn't-
So it's
yeah.
not the whole thing.
So, according to this, we got about $7,100 left
That's 2 days.
in the infrastructure account. So this isn't, and I didn't, and you have to forgive me or Terry, but Terry didn't check, but with the courthouse renovation in Michigan City, we've had meetings all day long, and so we did not, I did not get that from the treasurer. So we'll try and email that out. Remind me, Mary.
Okay.
So, but we still have 71,44,57 left in the infrastructure account, and Larry is on the agenda for the county council's meeting Monday for an additional 25,000 to do more electrical work out there. So, which would take care of all the high powered lines, right?
Take care of pretty much everything that we can take care of at the time around.
Right. Committee reports, executive committee, utility rep on the board, we still got no.
No, the only thing I could suggest is that, you know, we could write Kankakee Valley RMC a letter thanking them for what they've done in the past and see if they have somebody they want to assign to it.
I mean, and then we gotta take that person then and refer them to the commissioners, and then the commissioners approve them, so.
Yeah.
At this point, I would, you know, if somebody knows somebody from, and it's from a public utility, so if you've got somebody,
I had
that's,
two somebody, both.
what's that?
I had two, but both of them
Right.
said no.
But if you've got somebody that's,
Okay.
you know, or somebody knows somebody that's in a public utility, I mean, obviously,
You want them from the operational side, I would assume, or have some
Right.
technical background, or no?
we'd like them to have some,
Resources.
yeah, that's what we want.
Okay, no, I got you.
Right. That's why NIPSCO was brought into that, so. All right, so we'll do another push to try and get somebody.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
To Brian.
I talked to, Brian, before the last meeting.
Right before.
The
I
night
mean, it was
before,
on-
I talked to him and he declined. He's on too many boards, so,
Right.
yep.
All right, agreement with the Fair Board. One of the things that we talked about, I think, at the last meeting, is, since it's a yearly contract, and we talked about this at the meeting that we had the other day, is that any changes that need to be made or tweaked in there, we need to kind of get it started because it takes effect. Is it January 1st, Doug? When is that contract? Yeah. Yeah, so.
January 1.
Right. So if there's anything that, like I said, needs to be tweaked, we need to do that. With that said, is there anything that we need to talk about regarding that right now or not? I don't
think so. I think maybe members email me concerns or the adjustments you want made. Let me summarize those and get those back out to everybody so we can discuss it next month, and I know what I need to do to approach the Fair Board.
Right. All right, so, what did, and just to bring everybody up to speed, we had a meeting, and I say we, we had a meeting with the Fair Board Executive, is that right?
Yeah.
Right. Last week, regarding some issues, and we had one maybe a month and a half before that, and it's very productive, but we just kind of sit down and they say, hey, how is this going to work? How's that going to work? And so instead of sending emails and text and everything like that, it just seems to work better. So the original date got canceled because of that storm that blew in, and Ron had a doctor's appointment. But at the next one, hopefully, we get it all scheduled, but I think we might do it again next month. So that went good. What was the thing that Anthony was going to write down about? He was going to get, because I said, are you taking notes? And he said, yeah.
I haven't heard from Anthony after that meeting. I have to check in with what he's got.
Check in with him. Tell him you want to see his notes,
Bring my notes from the
because he made notes. I can't remember what the heck it
I
was.
don't hear either.
I just remember because we kind of joked that he was the one writing it down.
Right.
So
Yeah, you kept calling Tony.
yeah. Next item would be the contract for the business manager. Let's back up to the agreement. Is there, so you guys are keeping, and I'm pointing to him, Pioneer Land, pardon my language. Pioneer Land under your thing. So I mean, nothing, we don't see any major things like that changing, that, the makeup of, all right, there was all right, I just wanted to, it seemed like there was something we talked about.
There was. I can't remember what that was either.
We'll continue on. Contract with the business manager. Doug, I passed around, I did not email it out to everybody, and I will. The agreement, the independent contract agreement that you had sent, the last version of it.
Right.
Is there, this is the independent contract agreement, and then it was asked before we started the meeting, you're gonna draw up a separate agreement with the wages and how it gets paid and different things, that comes in a different one, or how do you?
Yeah, well, anything that I think might change or could change, I would rather go through a board resolution or a motion by the board. We can do it in the minutes. That way we don't have to redo the contract as we go forward. So, if you're gonna have rules for her as things expand, those are things that we can handle at the board level without a written agreement. And I'm looking at this, kind of like, I know it's not wage, and I know they're independent contract, but when we talk compensation, we may make adjustments down the line, and that's how we set our salary ordinance for the county.
Right.
So if we do it by resolution each year, we're gonna be, that way we'll be consistent with the county and other affiliated entities.
But do we need to, with this person, do we need to have any kind of a written agreement that how much the compensation is and the different things?
I think we should do it by board resolution or motion, and keep it in the minutes.
Yeah.
We don't
Okay.
have to have it in the
The
agreement.
minutes
Right.
will cover.
All right,
We've done it.
and then we can just do some kind of rules or guidelines that go with it if we want to say, expenses, how that gets paid and everything else.
Right, I'd rather do that by rule, because since this is new, chances are we're gonna have to make adjustments as we get going anyway.
Right. All right,
Well, Randy, in that case, I would.
microphone.
It's not on?
Is
My
it light lit up?
My light's on.
Pull it up closer. You got
How about now?
Can you hear now?
Closer?
No.
Oh, close enough. Okay, well, I would like to go ahead and make a recommendation because we want our business manager position to start September 1st. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the contract
Okay.
as presented for the business manager position for the Fairgrounds Management and Events Corporation.
to take effect.
Oh, to take effect September 1st.
So there's a motion, is there a second?
I second.
Restate the motion.
To
The
this
motion
independent
is to
agreement.
accept the contract as presented for the business manager position with the Fairgrounds Management and Events Corporation to begin September 1st,
All right.
2020.
All right, so there's a motion and a second. Is there any other questions? And
Doug, I haven't had much time to review the contract, but is there anything in there that points to the rules or regulations that this board may set over that person?
Yeah.
There is, okay, good.
Now, well, we'll finish this motion and I get a comment.
well, do you want to comment before we vote? We got a motion and a second.
No, I was actually checking the minutes to make sure we got it, we've already voted on compensation, so
Right.
all we need to do is approve the contract.
Right. All right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. So while we're on this topic, so one of the things that the conversation that we had with the Fair Board last week, and Larry was there because we talked scheduling and a bunch of other stuff, came up is the question the Fair Board had was, does our person take over all the scheduling September 1st? Everything. So this was my answer to them, because we had not even voted on this yet, that it may take our person a little bit of time to get going. So until we notify the Fair Board that our person is taking over, they're going to continue with what they're doing, the way they're doing it, and our person's going to come in and slowly take over and get it taken over. Is that?
So what about the ones that are booked for farther out?
So you're jumping ahead.
Sorry.
So with that, then it comes up is, and these questions come from Sarah. Sarah's the person, our counterpart that is over on the Fair Board, takes care of the scheduling. Sarah's question was, what do we do with the weddings that are next year? What do we do with the events that are scheduled and they've already received a deposit on? She's holding off on sending out some, and if I'm saying that, so that's why I'm kind of looking at you guys, because if I don't say it exactly right, let me know. But she's kind of holding off on a few events, sending the contracts out, because she wants to make sure if FMEC, and she sent me the price list that they use as a guideline for rentals, if we were going to change anything, because she didn't want to send it out if we were going to change it, and then, so she's trying to help us out, not create more confusion. And that's what she's looking for. And she also sent me a copy of the agreement that they send out, or is it the lease?
Yeah.
The lease, when they have somebody that wants to lease a building. She sent that to me, which we need to get Doug involved in that to see if there's things we need to tweak on that. So they're kind of in limbo on that.
Okay, here's my recommendation. We got the approval to start the business manager September 1st. I think at this point, that person needs to be involved in all of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Okay, so I would recommend we don't make any changes at this point, and let the Fair Board or Sarah and her staff continue to do what they're doing. Our plan was January 1st to officially be in charge. So I would say use the 4 months of September through December to allow our person to get acclimated and familiar with every process. Let her make recommendations to the board for any changes that she wants to make, and then that's when Doug be involved. If it's a legal matter that he needs to address, or if it's just a matter of administration, which the board then can approve. I would say at this point, I don't think we need to do anything except let Sarah know that when this person starts September 1st, she will be working to do the transition. my recommendation.
So,
Don't do any, we don't have to
Right.
worry about making any changes.
Well, we do. We do have to worry about some because I guess the thing that, listen,
Okay.
people are booking next year weddings. So they're going to be based on, so we have to make a decision if we're going to stay with the pricing that is currently in place. So we just need to decide that so that they know, so that one, Susie knows and Sarah knows, between now and the end of the year, they do that. The second thing is when they collect the deposit for next year's events, is that event going to stay with the fair board? Or are they going to collect the deposit between now and the end of the year, and that deposit gets sent over to us and they flag it? So and we're going to take over the event. So that's what we have to work out. I'm all for,
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Well,
okay. But let the scheduling stay as it is for now through the end of the year, or at a point where the person decides that, our business manager decides, okay, I'm ready to take over, maybe November. She may say, okay, I'll start doing the scheduling, November, okay, she'll start. And the deposit, everything stay the same. But then in the actual event, if it's next year, then we handle the event. We actually handle the event. Everything else can stay the same. I don't see that you need to change that.
So we would handle the event if the fair booked, say we have an April or May event of 2021, but we're going to, they've booked it already, but then we're gonna pick it up and handle it?
No, that's what I'm saying, the scheduling. Like if somebody calls in and wants to rent something, I mean, because our person's not ready to, it'll take
yeah.
long to learn how to.
let's say somebody's going to have a wedding in June.
Right, okay, they call in September.
They call in September and they
Okay.
say, here's my $500 deposit.
Sarah goes ahead, books it, and gives the information to the business manager for June, so the business manager can make the actual thing happen. So it would be under FMEC. But they should still handle the renting, the scheduling until the business manager says, okay, I'll handle it now, all the calls can come to me.
So here's just being the, I don't know what I am, but
The flip side.
I guess here's the thing. Why would, here's the problem that comes in. So you're going to have somebody else schedule it, set the rates, set everything, conditions, the contracts that aren't our contracts. And then you're going to ask our director next year to pick that up and go, I got a wedding next month. Wait a minute. They got, this isn't, I don't know how.
We know the prices already, and so if we want to change the prices right now, that's one thing. If we want, what I'm saying is, they already have the prices out there, so why would we change the prices anyway?
I'm not saying we change the prices. But I guess and maybe Doug, it's kind of like buying a house that's already rented out, and then you got to transfer the deposits and you got to do all that other stuff. And
When does the fiscal year of the fairgrounds end? It's end of September?
End of September,
End of
yes.
September.
Mhm.
I mean,
So
that's
that's-
their fiscal year.
Yeah, so there is an issue with how we're going to book deposits.
Yeah.
The contract is with us, so these people have a signed contract with the fair board for this event.
so they don't have right, they're,
The transition
Right.
should be at the end of your fiscal year.
so we would
The
need.
contract is actually stated that it's with the fair board, not.
Correct. So we would need all these people that have booked already to sign a new contract with FMEC.
That's where I was
We'll
going.
just let them know this
Yeah.
happened and.
Right, and that we are now the ones,
Right.
and the other thing that we need to make sure of, and I'm sure Doug's already got this jotted down somewhere, is we just need to make sure that, that all the insurance carriers and everybody's out there, and that's something that came up the other day is we're assuming that the fair board has general liability insurance for all the things there. Who covers like the 4-H events and different things. Does 4-H cover that, or you
Yeah,
guys?
liability.
But you guys, but if there's,
We have
if somebody
others.
else is using the grounds and,
Yeah.
right, you guys rent it, yeah, okay, all right.
So if I understand, then who's going to maintain any event out there and do setup and cleanup and everything throughout the end of the year? Because if it's them that are scheduling it, they're the ones responsible for doing all the setup and cleanup.
If they're getting the money,
Right,
but if they're not,
For the rest of this year?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that still goes with them.
So,
but you're getting the money. I mean, where you're
Oh,
not.
I'm
you're not-
fine.
Yeah,
Right.
they're still-
As long as we're getting the money.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, we
I
just,
want to make sure, because, with garbage pickup and all that other stuff in the restrooms and stuff, so
But-
it's really.
We
all on you
officially
guys.
take over, we said January 1st.
But
We talked about
Right.
trying to align it with our fiscal year, but it's
but
kind
their
of thrown
fiscal
off.
year ends the end of September,
That's
so.
theirs, but not ours.
I know, but if we could,
Clean up.
if we could do something at that point, if we could shoot towards that, and it's aggressive, but I mean, it helps having somebody that knows
Well,
and
yeah,
done this
and she will
before.
be, and I think by the end of September, she will be ready to start scheduling. And that's why I was seeing.
I agree.
Changes.
Right.
Because I think she'll be ready.
What's your thoughts on all the deposits and the way the leases are and the contracts are different? We're not hearing you, Doug.
You're muted.
I'm you.
Come on.
Okay, I'm thinking we make no decision tonight, leave everything as is, let her get in there and give the board recommendations next month. She'll be there, talking to the people who are actually doing it, and I think she's gonna have better information than anybody on this board has.
Right.
So we'll get input for, that's why I told the fair board, you guys just keep doing what you're doing until we tell you something different.
Yeah, I think let us sit and until she knows the landscape, and then I think she can probably give us a lot, she'll probably have it mapped out for the board on what she wants to do. She's the one doing the work.
So one of the questions that the fair board had is do you want them to book things for next year and take deposits with the contract they have right now? Or should Sarah continue to hold off and delay these people until the end of September?
I think she should, they can go ahead and book and take deposits. If we get, when we have finalized agreement with the fair board, it's not difficult to cut a check and account for those deposits coming in.
Right. All right, I just want to make it as, easy and as,
I think it'd be pretty simple
right,
to do the transition.
okay. So, tell Sarah to get up next year all booked up.
We'll still get the-
Does anybody have any other questions on that?
Yeah, she's not gonna be here today, I'm assuming, because she's
No.
here already, but, that was one of the things we had said we were gonna do, was have her come to this meeting.
Well, we might have a special meeting and bring her in, so. I don't think it's right to have her here when you're having a contract to vote on it, unless you tell her to sit out in the hall and then we'll, I mean, that's, so. What was your other, did you have, did you have something else on the contract, or?
No,
Oh.
I'm good, I'm ready to go.
So let me get this straight. The deposits, we're gonna take the deposits. And then in turn, we're gonna intern it, when it switches over, we're writing them deposits back to you and check form.
For things for next year, or for,
Yes.
when we take over,
Just so we know how we're gonna.
right, we'll notify you, and we'll give you plenty of notice. It just says, hey, as of this date, we're taking over the events. And so at that point, and right now, we're shooting for January 1st. Is that still the soonest we think we can do it?
Yeah,
And then at that point, next year, we'd be responsible for putting on the events and doing everything, and so those deposits would transfer over. So,
Okay.
does that clarify everything?
And the lease charges, we can remain the same? I mean, do we feel good with remaining the same as what the Fair Board charged through 2021?
well, that's what Doug was saying, leave everything the same, let her get in there, and if she has recommendation for changes on anything, including pricing, if she can she'll be in better a position to make that recommendation to us.
Right.
Because we might be doing renovations on the community building, and I would think the the lease, or that
Cover.
rent would go up.
But at this point, it's all the same.
But just so, the way I see it going is, we're gonna keep the same rates through next year because they're already booking for next year, so we don't wanna have
Yes.
one person paying less than, we don't wanna change it in the middle of it. Now, obviously, we might have to tweak something, or something, but, and then, like I said, I'll email the pricing out and all the other stuff. Is there anything else with that, Doug?
No, I don't think so.
So I talked to the county IT department, and they're going to provide her with a laptop so that she uses the county's laptop, so so if for some reason the person that's in there isn't in there, at least that can be transferred to somebody else, and hopefully all the county's FMEC stuff is on that one spot. It's not, well, I've got that stuff on my home computer, I got it over here, I got it over there.
So you
we-
still have a LaPorte County email address?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's the other thing.
Will that computer be backed up like monthly or not? I mean, okay,
County's backed up.
it is
The county,
on the
the
server?
email and everything is backed up and
Perfect.
retained for
Good.
5, yeah. So,
Yep.
So that, the other thing is, I talked to, the other night, the fair board kind of off to the side about possibly having a place where she could have a temporary office until we could figure something else out. And they said something about the treasurer's office maybe.
Yeah, because possibly you were only thinking 1 day a week.
I have no idea.
start with.
Right, so.
We have places too. We have a space at the tourism bureau.
But we're thinking at the fairgrounds, a place
I
there.
thought you said county complex.
No.
Sorry,
No.
sorry.
The treasurer's
Yeah, we were
office
going
and
to discuss it next
the,
week at our.
Right, okay.
Okay, okay.
So we'll figure that out between now and then and do something. Is there any other talk on that? Anybody got any other questions, comments? Finance Committee, is there anything?
Nobody's here.
As we stated, we're on the council's agenda for next week for some additional funds for the electric. Update on projects, Larry?
We're moving along.
Larry, microphone, you know the routine of all the people.
We're moving along with the, every project we got going on out there, the back parking lot. We started working in the roadway. We started cutting into the tree line for the connexes in the back to get them out of the way. We're just mainly doing a lot of cleaning up. We're working on some fencing and stuff right now, back by Horse and Pony. I know, I think Ron was gonna bring it up, Dick Reel called me today, they wanna add a little more concrete in front of a couple buildings, which
Yeah.
Ron talked to me about, make sure, which, that concrete looks really nice, they did in Pioneer Land.
You need to talk to us too, right?
Sure.
It's two little 5-foot sections that going up to the quilter's barn
Spinning
and
cabinet.
then, yeah, they're just little short ones that they didn't do before. But he wanted to know if we needed to put any sleeves underneath it for power or anything, and I said we can get to every access on it, so I wasn't too worried about sleeves on it. But,
Yeah, but you understand that they're under us, so.
Yep,
okay.
yep, I'm just saying, he called me about wanting to know if there's anything we need to do. But, and then we were talking about, at the meeting we had, about the washrooms, kind
Oh, right.
of subject that we need to get
Right.
out there in the open, what we want to do here and how we
Bring
want to,
that big check with the dollar amount on there?
how we want to finance it, and if we want to get it started this year, or if we want to bypass it.
Oh.
So, in our meeting, Larry, you had talked about a way to do that, maybe using some other resources?
Yep.
You want to talk to the,
Well, one of the things we talked about is possibly using the building trades program out in New Prairie. LaPorte's has gone defunct on it, so they're not really doing anything right now from what we understand. So utilizing them, but getting someone in there to get the structure actually up, because we got to tie it into the EMS base and have them help us get the walls up, roof on, get the metal on, and then we could get some of these kids in there and make a donation to the program. They could help us get the interior done, plumbing. That way we could teach them a little bit about what's going on.
And tell us, what do you anticipate the shell would cost? Because it's going to be a pole.
It's going to be a pole barn. We got a rough price, just a verbal price of right around $40,000 to get that shell up and get the concrete work done on it. So and that was just like I said, a rough verbal. Until we have something on paper. But
So the shell and the interior concrete.
yes, yes,
Okay. And they can't pour the concrete till the plumbing's in.
exactly.
So
One of the things we talked about is that if we're going to do
What
this,
was the cost for the plumbing? Do you have an estimate for that?
the whole thing,
Yeah.
I think we were talking around 60.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, we really didn't put a thing. But the plumbing itself, that you get into a little bit bigger cost when you start, because it's all underground plumbing. So, I'd have to figure out, but we were going to utilize that and do that with the kids, because that becomes a training. That's a good training tool right there. Getting the shell up right now, you're talking the end of the year. We're already going in September. Try to teach the kids in October, November. I said get the shell up, and then we can teach them and work inside throughout the winter and get this thing done.
so the shell without the concrete, 20,000?
Possibly
Price of
somewhere
lumber
to. Yeah, and that's the thing.
There
The
is
price
no
of lumber
lumber.
is, and it's getting
Oh,
stuff right now, so it's
Everybody's out of lumber.
skyrocketing. So I don't want to say that for sure, but
Yeah.
$23,000. Maybe.
Okay.
So what we were thinking, is utilizing all those resources that Larry mentioned, the building trades and the kids and everybody that we can.
Plus, we got our own people here.
But then the other thing that we'd like to do is we'd like to do that building with a joint venture with the Fair Board and with Pioneer Land. So, since Pioneer Land is right there, and it's like, it would help, and this would be a year-round restroom, just so everybody knows. So even in the wintertime, this is something I don't think we've ever had out there, is it?
Correct.
So,
But there's a lot of functions that happen out in the winter.
Right.
Just in Pioneer,
Right.
they have the winter,
Yes.
the Christmas, candlelight thing
well,
and
it would
stuff out
allow
there.
events to happen
Yeah.
more in the winter, you know what I mean? So you could do
Yeah,
all.
if we're talking about doing year-round events, we're gonna have to have,
Yeah.
So I don't know if the Fair Board, and then we'd have to talk, or I guess since they're under you guys, you need to talk to them. Smile. So, but to see, if we want to try to do this in pieces, but get a price for the whole thing, but kind of do it in pieces and say, hey, you know what, let's get the shell up now at the end of this year. And so if we all commit a third of the money to it and say, we're going to do this now and then, and kind of phase it in, and then, okay, we're going to do the plumbing now before we pour the concrete and do that. Is that something you guys could talk about, or?
We can talk about it, but
If
without
you-
fair, it's pretty.
Yeah, if you want to move that quickly, I would suggest that both of you or one or two of you come to our board meeting and talk to us about it, about how you're thinking about getting 3 entities involved to help pay for it and all that. And I think, take a look where we're at.
See where we're at.
Yeah.
I think that's the, pretty easiest way to do it. And that's why I kind of thought if we kind of bit off little pieces of it, it'd be a little bit easier to handle, instead of,
One of the pieces everybody's got to remember that not just putting the building up, we have to take where the wash station is there, that pole, we pretty much have to drop all of that wiring and get it underground, because a lot of that feeds across and does overhead wiring. So we're going to have to probably drop all that down, get all that underground wiring in across and stuff at the same time before we put a building up, and then we're going all the way around a building.
or at least get the conduit in.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to get the conduit in, you might as well run that wire.
For what wires, Larry?
What they did is when they did over by the wash station in Pioneer Land, all they do is the connections up overhead while you feed the EMS base with over there,
sure,
you feed
sure,
the, you
yeah,
feed
yeah.
the demo derby area over there. There's a whole lot of stuff going overhead. And it's just, to me, we don't want to do half a job and come back and cost twice the money.
It's all secondary though, but it's, yeah, I
Yes,
get
it's
it.
secondary, but
Yeah,
it needs to be done. And then we can get rid of that pole pretty much at the same time too. It should, looking at it, should eliminate everything
So
there.
we'll plan on Wednesday, right?
Next Wednesday, yes.
At 5, 6?
We can have
You
you go
can.
right away so you can get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick around.
Buddy, nobody sells it like you do. But I'll come there. I'll come there with you.
I'll get you on the agenda.
Right,
I
all
won't-
right.
I'm not gonna be there.
And you're not gonna be there?
No, I'm gonna be, next Wednesday, remember I told you I'm out after noon.
When you give me all the stuff, I'll go.
But that's, you don't need to come if this board's not in favor of doing that, so we probably need to take action here or not, that we want to support that project.
You want a motion to say,
Well,
for him to have a conversation? Or-
I think he needs to find out where you guys stand on
If we
it.
say we're not gonna do the restroom, there's no use of him coming to the fair board.
Well, we already tore down the old restroom, so we gotta build a restroom.
We're gonna do it, I mean.
Right, we gotta do it.
All right, now, it's just-
We're gonna do it if they help.
Well, with help. We're gonna do
Right,
it.
we can't do it
Our
without.
favor of it, I'll put it that way. But yeah, I don't even think you need to vote at this time, just need consensus that you need to pursue the
Yeah.
conversation and then bring it back.
I'm good with that.
I guess a lot of what we do and how we do it depends on who's buying into it. And then, do you guys have a separate meeting?
Yeah, we did last night.
Did you? What'd they decide?
You give us money?
We decided since nobody knew, we were gonna wait till we heard something. Do you want us to take the lead on it?
Yeah.
I thought you would.
Could you?
No?
No, I didn't know when you mean, so, but I mean, I'll be happy to come and talk, come to your meeting also, so.
Will all the parties be at that meeting?
No, well, you got representatives from the Fair Board, don't you, or no? I mean, Fair Board. From Pioneer Land on,
Dave Miller
Dave.
and,
Dave Miller has been coming to our meetings.
he's been coming, right? Yeah,
yeah.
he reports back to us.
But then the board still needs to take action if they're gonna do something, especially if it's.
Some of the other things that, we talked about the front canopy, we talked about possibly getting the building trades kids involved in possibly helping to redo the front canopy and coming in the fairgrounds. I mean, there's quite a few things.
Was that
Yeah.
was that Rolling New Prairie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, they're not doing a house. I talked to Heike, they are not gonna do a house this year, so they're doing some odd and end jobs, but they are gonna look for a project to do, but, like I said, one of the biggest things is you make a donation to their program, and.
Who's got the connect, I mean, who can get like that project on the?
Don
Well-
Stoner's on the committee.
Right, that's right, Don was gonna talk to him.
Yeah, he's on the committee.
All right. All right,
LaPorte still has the kids that meet, but they're not going out. Now, if they go out, that would be the perfect thing to join both groups, because we do things with both groups right now. I mean, we hold, OSHA 10 training classes with them, first aid training classes with both groups. It's just
Both groups being,
LaPorte and New Prairie, but, right now,
city's not involved?
well, Michigan State does not have an actual building trades program. They do an A.O. Smith program.
but they don't go out and build projects.
Last we knew, they just do A.O. Smith. They just do it all in class, and that's what LaPorte's trying.
AO or AK?
A.K. Smith. A.K. Smith.
Right, oh,
And
so
that's
they're
what-
not going out in the field.
Right, and that's what LaPorte's kind of turning to, is that type of a thing with the
Is it
curriculum.
just because of the epidemic?
No, it's because of what the set standards are by the state for teaching and stuff right now, from what I'm understanding. I don't have a total understanding of it. I think you learn more out in the field, but, it's,
But if we're gonna get them, we're gonna need to move to get on their agenda.
Well, yeah.
because they meet once a month, I think, on their agenda.
Yeah.
When, does anybody know when it is? Can you get with Don and find
Yeah,
out,
I'll get
and
with him tomorrow morning.
if we
Usually
need
meet
to,
on Tuesdays or
Right.
something, I think,
Yeah,
don't
I
they?
think it is
Right.
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
and just let us know if
If
you need
it's
more,
possible, even if
Right.
they're available.
right, more people there, the better, so.
Yeah.
What else you got, Larry?
That's about it. That's about it.
So, the electric, they're gonna shut the electric down at the fairgrounds
Yep.
tomorrow, they're cutting the tops of the poles off, they're dropping.
Yep, they should be done by Sunday night. We'll be done with that whole project.
Right. That phase of the
Yep,
project.
that phase one,
Right.
the high voltage, and we'll have the campground back online. That's our goal, is to get that transformer swapped out, get that back all online. and stuff.
Tomorrow, that'll be done tomorrow.
Yep.
Electric will be back on.
Yep,
Right.
so.
All right. Is it
To the signs,
the next item?
Yes.
Marketing and communications.
yes, the sign, I passed around, maybe I gave you a copy of that. And I just passed it around so you guys can get a look at that. This was our-
Luke Bryant, man,
This
she's
was our
dreaming
only-
big.
This was our only bidder on the project that came through. I had a couple others said they were gonna bid, but they didn't come through. So I think we should start making plans to at least meet and talk with the owner and get some more information from him before we get to it, because the dollars, we'll have to raise money for the dollars to do this. And I do have some ideas about that, so there's a grant out there, for one thing that could cover something like that. But
And Pat, I'll volunteer. I'm about 5 miles away from their business, so
you know him?
I don't know him, but if you're gonna go down there, I could meet you and
Oh,
then,
good.
yeah, we could, yeah.
That's what I want. And I was just gonna tie that in with Larry, because I know, since you're doing work out there, I don't know if you wanna look at this to see what things could possibly be maybe done by your group that wouldn't interfere with your budget, but being on.
It all interferes with my budget.
And I feel like the sign could possibly, I'm going back to the Fair Board, it could be a multi-use, so is it something we could ask for help too?
Where's the sign actually gonna be located? Is it in the triangle out there still where the ridge one is, or are we moving
He's
it
talking about.
into the grounds on the parking
Somebody
lot?
said we had to have a variance.
Yeah.
But in the
we
write-up,
checked into it.
in the
Right.
write-up, he talks about just replacing, it'll replace the one that's.
So the current sign to be remodeled needs a variance?
Yeah,
From the,
Okay.
from the
That's-
county?
Okay, that's good to know. That's fine.
Yeah, man, what they told us.
That's fine. We'll do what we need to do.
Okay.
You know, we're gonna follow.
But
I
maybe
think it
it's-
does because of the brightness and everything, it's got the lumens and everything you gotta do, plus.
Why is that, Doug? Why does the sign need a variance?
Nobody's asked me that question yet, I'm not sure, I have to look, I need the science specs to see if it does.
But they said just to even update it, to change it?
When we were gonna change it.
Who said that?
They had,
The Fair Board.
Who told us that, though?
Who told you that?
Kurt checked into it from,
They checked with the building department, they said they need a variance.
Send the specs to me, I'll take a look at it. I don't think we do.
Okay, I'll give them to you, Doug.
Okay.
Okay, so right now, I'm gonna meet with Dennis, and we're gonna go down, and I'll contact this guy, we'll go down and see his facility and
Yeah.
talk to him a little bit
So
more.
one of the things that we need to know, and I'm assuming new signs, the lighting is more energy efficient than the old sign?
Sure, it's
So
all LED.
it shouldn't need more electric out there than what you have? Is that,
Dennis, I'll get you a copy of this, 'cause
Okay.
it's got all that stuff in here.
right, but I'm just saying, that would be something we'd have to, if we did have to upgrade the electric out there, then
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be
This is
unforeseen,
actually-
but I don't think we do.
He's given us 3 different options,
Right.
with 3 different prices, of course. And so that's why I thought I would involve Larry.
Yeah.
And we can talk to the gentleman at Steinler, at this company too.
This has got 24-volt lighting,
See what he's gonna,
so you're not gonna use much of anything on that.
yeah,
You know what we have out there, Larry?
okay.
Yeah, you got,
So that's all I had on the
I
sign.
think you got 220
And then on the
out
events
there.
committee update on
So-
August and September events, there's no update. We're not doing anything right now with the spike in COVID, nothing's happening.
So that's something that we need to let the fair board know that are you talking about for the month of September? Obviously, August, we're not.
Yes.
So for the month of September, there's not going to be any events out there because there's events planned, waiting to know what's going on. Is that?
yeah, there's,
Now, we're talking big events.
okay, what do you do with the horse shows?
Then they need to follow the governor's think, so.
So as long as they follow that, we can go ahead and book them.
Don't you think, Doug? If a horse show's gonna follow the governor's thing and the health department they've talked to the health department, they should be good?
Yes, as long as we have a finite amount of people expected, we should be okay to do it.
So the demo derby, all that stuff is not gonna happen then?
Did they already cancel that?
They did, they had to know by August 18th or
Yeah.
19th, so I'm saying they're done.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
they can't, because their numbers were way too
Oh,
high.
yeah,
More
way
than
too much.
250.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way to control it.
Right.
So
So,
that's some of the things where we're working, trying to make sure we're done, so I mean, we can kind of move on other directions.
so the idea would be is anything that can stay under the governor's 250, practice social distancing, and there is, now there's signage out there for mask and all the other stuff, they just need to do that, so.
So I don't have anything else.
So, do we need to take a motion on not having any events in September, or no?
I don't think so.
No, so we're just in the record. Old business, the churches, horse and ponies, anything new?
Well, I sent out inquiries. I didn't hear anything from the bunny people. But one church said they had not met yet because of the COVID. And another church has contacted the building department. They're gonna do a walkthrough with the electrician, the electrical inspector, in terms of what needs to be done. I'm assuming I'll hear from them again after they walk through with the electrical inspector.
Did somebody say that one of the churches was
Yes.
giving up their
They gave
place?
up their building.
And so was there another church that was gonna, somebody?
Yeah, there was, they're checking on, there was another church that wanted to get into that
Right.
building.
Did you know that, Doug?
No, nobody told me.
Well, this just,
Just happened.
came out the other night.
They're rolling the Methodist church. They're wanting to get out.
the Methodist church is looking to get out, but I think they got somebody that
Yes.
might be interested
Take their
in
place.
taking that over.
The Catholic.
Okay, and I remember our conversation,
I think
Rolling,
that's-
at the time told me they were not sure if they're gonna continue because they had lots of volunteers out there, so.
Right.
So
So-
we need to get that name of the new church to you, right, Doug?
Say again?
The church that's gonna take over that building, we need to get that info to you so that you can get a contract. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start working with them.
Yep.
What
we need to do to
happens,
get it up to speed.
what happens if the church drops out and we don't replace it with someone? I mean, is it available then for use or by events or whatever? It's just another building on the property?
I mean, the original church put the building up, right? So,
And right now, we're actually utilizing it for storage right now for all the excess COVID stuff right now. So it's all, we've changed all locks on it and everything, and we're actually using it because we needed someplace to store everything.
And they have some stuff in there that.
They still have some stuff,
Yeah,
which-
We got a key that they.
Yeah, we gave you guys a key so they can, everybody can get in when they need to get in, but we started utilizing it because we needed to have a place. So we took it and ran with that a little bit. But
so you're saying, what if we didn't have another church come in and we kind of assumed that building, Pat?
That's what I was just asking, and it becomes available to rent, to do whatever else it can handle.
But it's our building anyway, right?
Right.
Just like us.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in the agreement, so just because a church comes in and says, this is our church, doesn't mean that we can't rent it out. I mean, it all depends on the agreement that we do with the churches, and right?
Yeah, the issue with the churches was exclusive possession of the building. And that's why we have requirements for them to bring the buildings up to speed. They're gonna spend the money to do it, and in exchange, they have exclusive possession.
Right. But if they're not gonna do that, then,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Winter storage. So the contract, the way the contract reads right now with FMEC and the Fair Board and the commissioners is that the Fair Board gets to maintain doing the winter storage. In exchange, they pay FMEC 35% of that amount. The thing, and Sarah sent me, and I'm gonna send it to Doug for him to review, the contracts and the agreements and the, I guess, the rules, just to make sure that we're in compliance with our insurance carrier and everything that's there. And I don't know if we need to, I don't know what you guys do for insurance. What did you guys do in the past with,
Everybody has their own insurance that
brings something in
brings
there?
something in.
And they sign a thing stating
sign a
that if
release.
that building burns down,
Yeah.
you're not it's a hold harmless?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct, Ron?
You got that, Doug?
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, we just need to make sure that we're
Yeah.
covered too, and we probably need to be part of that hold harmless, because, I mean, it's our buildings.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying, the counties, it's not ours, I mean, but,
Yeah.
so that we're just covered and it's not just you guys,
We'll
so,
just have Doug work with Tony.
right.
Do you
Don't
need,
call him Tony.
do you need the dates for when we're gonna start that to Blackout, or so Larry knows? Do you have them, Larry?
Well, you guys, we talked about, you guys were going to give us a list. We need to get like a map of a picture of the fairgrounds, and I'm sure we could get it, but just say, these are the buildings that are
Every
gonna have
building.
winter storage in them, and it's pretty much everything.
Pretty much every building gets it.
Because we're gonna start in October.
Yeah, it's third week October, I think, isn't it?
24th and November 7th,
Yeah.
and then they'll come out April 17th and 24th.
Right.
Yeah. Which, them buildings aren't used for much anytime after that anyway.
Right. And you'll have all the water probably shut off on it.
First part of October, we're gonna gain to do everything except for the campground, or if Pioneerland needs some stuff. Like I said, we're just gonna need to figure out what events are happening in the month of October, and we can start shutting things down.
Yeah, because we'll have campers there through the end of October.
Right, right. So we'll leave that section up, and that'll be the last we have to do.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna look at things over, and I'll make a couple phone calls to Don and see, we may even go out there next couple of weeks and say, hey, let's do like the hog barn or something like that. So, I mean, if there's nothing else, we're gonna try and get some of this stuff
He's
taken
gonna start
down.
knocking them out.
Yeah, it's just, get ahead of the game. It's just gonna be a busy year.
And just so everybody knows, if you haven't been out there lately, the highway department has been collecting the grindings. I think a lot of that came from 1,000 North.
1,000 North, and then up off of, to the west of here, around Garwoods and stuff like that.
Oh, Forester and all that
Forester
stuff.
and all that
right.
stuff, yeah.
So, and they've done that big parking lot, they did the parking lot between solid waste and the sheriff's department. They did a big parking lot there, they're rolling that out, and then we did another huge parking lot, so it's really, really looking good out there. It's gonna be really nice in the future.
And if I could just comment on that too, not only is that looking nice, but the grounds are as good a shape as they've been in years, so appreciate that, Larry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
One of the things, we were out there last night, Wyatt, I was driving through, and here comes Larry, so.
I try through every night to check on things.
An evening rendezvous at the fairgrounds. But during the things, and these are questions I asked Larry, this isn't Larry asking anything. The elbow things for the sewer, for the people to put the dump in.
Campground.
No,
in the-
down Concession
in the-
Road.
Oh, down
Concession
Concession
road.
Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, those need to be like picked up and the caps put on there? Is that after they're done? Because right now the caps aren't on there and the thing's laying over here
Okay.
and the garbage cans are laying out there, so we just
The
need.
caps are nowhere around, otherwise the guys would put them on, but like I said, I don't know where the caps went to.
Look, that's
Right.
Donnie, he's probably got
Or maybe
it
we
somewhere.
could, and we might need to figure out a different way to make that go in there, just so that it's, you know what I mean, so, in the future.
Are they taking that whole lid off?
No, it's a
No.
6-inch PVC pipe that comes
Yeah.
up, and then there's a screw cap on there.
Yeah,
But we just need to put those back,
yeah.
and the other thing is the electrical boxes,
To get them put away around.
get them put away like that night or the next day, because, we don't want anything happening out there. And
The
we need-
panels need to put locks on them. I know that the inspector, it's one of the
panels,
things, because all the panels, nothing's locked and anybody can open it up and get their hands in. You know,
You'll take care of that?
well, we talk about, but you guys need access, so we got to figure out how we want to do that. So it's something that we need to talk about, how do we want to handle
Get some
that?
kind of master key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something.
Because that way you have access to them.
The other thing that we need to do is the FMEC needs to decide is, and we've talked about this at meetings, is locking down the grounds, shutting all the different gates except for the one gate coming in and out. Is that-
The main, so that they can park in the parking lot and then walk in if they need to walk in.
Correct. But see, people would still be able to access
Yeah.
the campgrounds.
Right.
But is what we want to do is we want to restrict access from people just driving through the fairgrounds anytime unless they have it. Now, it's open to anybody that wants to come out there and use it through the Fair Board, FMEC, 4-H, anything like that. You're more than welcome. Nobody's telling anybody you can't use it. We just need to keep the people that are going out there and dumping trash and doing stuff and taking stuff from doing that. And that, we just want to control it. So at least we just have the people coming in one direction. And so, you know, if we ever do put a camera up out there and do something, at least we know who's coming in and.
That's also going to help to stop, like I saw, asked Mary when I saw her, it's like, what event was going on at the horse thing? Because last night, my drive-through after the meeting, there had been 20, 25 cars, and they were all gathered in underneath the pavilion there, you know. So it's like, it'll.
That was a dog show or is that tonight?
The dog
No.
was tonight.
Tonight, yeah.
Just gonna
You know,
look
I just said, it just, we,
on the calendar.
I just drove through and I turned the wheel and went the other way. It's,
Yeah.
well, let's be honest.
So,
It'll help to get, kind of deter some of the things going on that no one knows about.
So with that, and then another thing with the new director coming up is, does FMEC want to start a calendar that would kind of take effect next year, to where a calendar that we would control and the fair board would get on, or are we going to get on the one that, are we going to share? How do you guys want, these are all little details, I know, but it's stuff I got to talk to IT
I
about.
think the manager,
I think the manager,
Has a calendar, and then,
Just let the manager.
manager can decide that. That's
Okay.
like an operational issue.
and then the other thing is do we, are we looking at, and I can maybe talk to the county IT about providing a phone, so that there's a phone number associated with that, because the problem with somebody having a personal number on there that they're given to all the time, then if that person quits, then people are still calling that person.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to Darlene about getting the laptop and a phone, and then a phone number. And then the county, I've already talked to Sheila, and I think we talked about it briefly at the last meeting, was getting the county website person's going to help with the website and getting all that going, so.
Does the county have cellular phone package at all?
We have a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have,
okay.
Why, you gonna?
Well, you may want to get,
You're gonna
you
throw
may
one
want to
in?
get that manager both, the landline or whatever, and a cell phone that landline can be forwarded to or whatever, so, because they're not always going to be in that one office, right?
You know, do we have connectivity out there? The county? Well, we got to at the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we have it there, then we can we could put a county phone in there
Okay.
or someplace. Let's just put it out. I'm not saying,
Yeah, yeah.
but we could put it out there that would roll over to the cell phone. So yeah,
Right.
you're right, yeah. So I just want to make sure we had, because obviously we got that. So. Is there anything else? I got to go to get my Farm Bureau
Are you gonna get
dinner tonight. Yeah. So. Is any,
We'll just try to keep the calendar updated. That was our issue here now, and I don't know why it's not updated, but I'll try to fix that.
Because I was just telling Steve, there was nothing on the calendar for yesterday. So when you went through, there's nothing on there. So-
There
right,
might not have been. I mean, they
Just came up
they
whenever.
just go out there whenever they want.
Yeah.
right.
As far as 4-H, they're required to have a safety plan. prior to holding anything out there. We were talking, Christine and Randy, that we've been tossing around in the office to have all reservations come to our office, make sure we have all safety plans, everything required. Before then, our office contacts Sarah, whomever, so that we know on our end who's going to be out there and that it is covered through a safety plan.
It's only if it's 4-H?
Yeah, just 4-H.
Okay.
So in that would, because the other,
Anything extension.
So extension homemakers, the.
right.
Window
Anything.
hangers.
Because the other day when we had the meeting with the fair board, it was 4-H had an event out there and it's like, they're like, we didn't, and it might be you didn't know. I mean, it could be that, and when I say you don't know,
Yeah.
there was who was out there?
They were working in the showroom, it was dogs, I think.
Huh?
Wasn't that the issue, that we don't know what, that's the issue we're talking about.
4-H isn't on.
They're gonna be out there sometime.
4-H isn't on the calendar that they have.
And Sarah says she's not getting updated from the extension on when 4-H has events out there.
It was well, when I came on board, it seemed like everybody was just going straight to you guys and reserving
Yeah.
They're not.
automatically.
They're not now. I mean, yeah.
So, because we have policies we need to follow
Right.
as far as safety, we want to get a grip on who's doing what. And for a while, it was just a few people because we're still waiting to see
Right.
what's ahead of us. But then when you found somebody painting out there and thought it was 4-H related, had nothing to do with us. So.
Who's doing what?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is, that just for the record, I don't care who notifies who, but somebody needs to notify somebody
Yeah.
through, so they either need to notify you notify Sarah till Susie's there, vice versa, this or that.
Yeah, we're working on a communication piece right now that includes the safety plan template, and to get that out to any volunteer group, anybody associated with extension. And then we'll include everybody on that, so you know what the process is.
And then with that would be up to 4-H and extension to decide if you want them to go through you to book things. Am I right? I mean, you guys don't need to.
I think the process is 4-H or extension is gonna have something, they gotta go through
Right,
them.
I agree.
And they contact Sarah and
Yeah.
say, hey, we're gonna have homemakers at this building on this date, at this
So
time.
you just know, like, if Sarah gets someone, can Sarah ask, have you contacted the extension office?
Can you guys send that communication to her and ask that that be done?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We're working on that right now,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Not right now, we're
maybe
not.
not by the end of tomorrow,
So
but.
we can't.
And that needs to get on that calendar so Larry knows what's going on too.
Oh,
out there,
absolutely.
you know?
Because we
Absolutely.
all have access
talked
to
to
the
the-
calendar. We
Right.
just need to
Say
tell her
something.
something's
Yeah.
updated.
I was wondering if you checked in.
Yeah, so the other topic that came up the other night was that, how would you say it? Alcohol permits are being denied if there's a 4-H event the same day. So it could be a 4-H event from 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning, and the wedding's 5 to 8 o'clock at night.
And we can't have
And
alcohol.
excise does not, they don't look at times, they look at dates. And so they're saying that if there's alcohol on there, if there's a 4-H event, they're not giving a permit. I checked with the sheriff called excise, he is asking an attorney downstate somewhere for kind of more a ruling on that, just because the idea is if you had separation, so you got, if you were down at the Horse and Pony Arena, and you got a wedding in the evening, it's all the way down here, and you have security, you have a sheriff's deputy in there, is that, so they're just getting clarification, because,
Plus, we have probably a lot more flexibility than what maybe some volunteers would think as far as working around weddings. You know, if there's a wedding and say this ruling stays, we'll work around it. You know, we need to know blackout dates
right.
and work around it.
Well, and that's important, because, if through the summer, if that place, if they got a wedding in there almost every weekend,
Or just flat
That
out?
means there's no 4-H things on Saturdays, unless the state excise allows us to say, look, it's 1,000 feet between these two events.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know.
if it's 7 o'clock in the morning to 9.
They
and
said,
then
now
there's-
that part they said, if it's the same
Day.
date, right, because, and they just recently started asking everybody if there's 4-H events on that day. So that's something newer to the,
Yeah,
to the
something just
camp.
happened, we brought it up because we thought the new manager's gotta know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
so,
And right now, people are out there probably more than what they would normally be, just because we haven't had access to be able to be out there. So, I don't think in a, I don't even want to say typical, in a year where we have a live exhibition, fair's over, they're out of there. And then wedding season is going.
That's right,
And so
yeah.
it doesn't conflict as much. But we can definitely work around it.
Okay, I got 2 quick things.
all right.
Do you have any more information on the flags?
I have 6 people right now. You have a deadline, because I'll push harder for it.
Well, once the frost hits, I can't do much.
Yeah, and I didn't know if you really want to push for this year.
And you know what, if I have to do it in the spring, we'll do it in the spring, but I just was wondering where we
Not that
stand.
Larry doesn't have other things to do.
I know he does, as I listen to this, I think, maybe flags aren't such a big issue.
Nope, it's on my radar and it's on my list of things that, you know, we have an open.
You know what
slot
you could
there.
do, Larry, since those flags are put in with a PVC sleeve into the concrete, right? Isn't that what holds them in? And then you can take them out?
Yeah.
So we can just say, hey, we're gonna do 30 flags, hypothetically. And then if you guys ever have time and you got a postal, you can just put all those in and then we just
The
get the
sleeves come
sponsor.
with it, so they fit tight,
What's that?
though. The sleeves actually come with it, so they fit tight. I don't wanna.
It's a regular piece of PVC. I think it's a 2-inch piece of PVC. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Did you want to talk about what we're doing, working on with the community building?
The other thing is the community building, and we mentioned this the other night a little bit, but we might have to have jury selection out there. We talked about that. And it would, is
Maybe
it
bigger
Mondays?
now.
Is it Mondays?
Mondays, well, there's 2 days, Mondays and Tuesdays was what we started looking at their calendars. They got jury selection on Mondays and Tuesdays.
And it's usually open on Mondays and Tuesdays during the day. But we also looked at that with the idea that if they have jury selection out there, there's reimbursable CARES Act money and this and that, so we could possibly, maybe, include some of the renovation of that facility into that. So we want to kind of look at that. But we may have a judge coming out there as early as 1st of September, because we were talking schedules with this courthouse thing, and
He's got
a couple murder
Superior
trials
one's
coming
got
up.
a jury trial every week, all starting the 28th of this month.
Yeah.
Who's judge?
Burgers.
And there's some pretty high profile, and we may actually have to use it because he needs a big area. There's also was talk today on that meeting about actually using it as a courtroom. So that means it's gonna be locked down totally.
For during the day.
Yeah. So I'm just so it's out there, I mean,
Through what period, he's gonna go to
Huh?
when? What period of time?
into October.
So we'll,
We're not probably gonna.
So then at the end of
But
October, he would move to the Brown Mackey building.
Yeah.
yeah,
But if
is that,
he had
is
to
that gonna
do-
affect Sarah being in the office or any of
No,
those?
no.
And
Shouldn't.
the use of those restrooms? Can
Well,
we still go use those
that's,
restrooms?
it may affect Sarah being into the office because, you know,
She might, yeah.
it
So
may.
that's what we need to know, I
Well,
guess.
it
Well,
all
we-
depends on what the sheriff has to say. That's the key
Right now,
to it.
this is
Keep us updated.
Yeah.
still in the,
She can make a make.
is it available for us to use? We're not, yeah, it's not set in stone.
Bertie called this afternoon, he wanted to talk about things, so we don't know, we're, figure that's gonna be a discussion tomorrow, so.
So we could, there's a lot of movement.
I just wanted out in the open though, that things kind of changed a little bit from the conversation the other day, even today.
Is there anything else? You got anything, Ron?
Nothing. You covered it all.
You got that check yet?
I got something.
What?
Just to let well, thank you. Just to let the board know, the attorney for the solid waste district made an eloquent presentation to commissioners last night about moving a 20-acre parcel that the solid waste district owns from ownership from the county to the district. So they're gonna be just doing some surveying out there, and the commission for favorable on it, so that, I think we'll have a clean line where the district stops and the Fairlands start.
Just make sure that corresponds with where the berms are, would you? Just,
It should.
right, I know it should, but,
They're gonna finish cleaning up everything outside of the berms?
Yes, they haven't talked to me about that.
right. They've been pretty responsive so far
Yeah.
to getting things done, so.
Yeah.
So the county's gonna deed that over to the district?
Yeah, but we gotta get a survey first, because, I wanna exclude the cell tower, and then that, there's a row where Bob's storing material, and I wanna keep all that out. So
Right.
we're gonna get a survey and cut that out.
And-
It'll be something less than 28,
And some of that's in the city, right? Bless you.
Thank you.
not this piece.
Well, the berm that they were burning off was in the city limits.
Was it?
Yeah, because, they wound up-
It's got a little jaunt there.
yeah.
It,
You need to check the city limits because part of that is in it. Because when they set that on,
I'll check it out.
yeah. All right.
I
Is there
think the whole
anything else?
building's in the city limits.
I think it is too. Yeah. Is there anything else? Anything else? All right. Nothing else? When's our next meeting? September 17th. All right. And then is what we might do is I might call a special meeting between now and then, bring in the new director so that everybody can kind of meet with her and do things. Maybe we'd do that out at the fairgrounds or something. So,
And it's
all right.
okay, I keep coming in places, spawning.
You talk a lot.
I'll second that.
We on the record or off the? I wish him a speedy recovery. He had his knee surgery today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday,
All right.
he's hurt.
I bet he is. It hurt.
I thought it
All right.
was kind of quick from there.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.